Hello everyone, it's Trish. We're back with another Dress It Up Buttons video. Today we're going to make a super cute charm necklace and earring set. Today I'm going to be using the Backyard Buddies button mix, some Jesse James beads, root beer float. You're going to need 2 pieces of chain, one for the back of the necklace and one to be able to put your charms onto. This is just a bigger loop piece that I have here, and this works well for the front, and then I just have a piece of chain reaction for the back. And you're going to need some 20 gauge wire. You're also going to need some jump rings and some ear wires. So let's get started, guys. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you here is how to put a connection onto your button. Now we are going to need some kind of connection to be able to dangle our buttons from our actual chain. So what I've come up with here is something that anyone can do if you just have some wire in your buttons. And you can see here that I've just done a swirl on the wire and glued it onto the back of the button, and it works great. Gives you just a little head pin there kind of coming out of it. You can put your beads on and make it really cute. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to trim the shank off of the button. This is our cute little skunk here. And I'm going to trim that back off. And that's ready to go. And then I'm just going to take a little length of wire. It doesn't have to be too awful long. I guess this is probably about 6 inches. And I'm going to flush cut the end of it. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers. And you can use any trimmers for this, guys. If you have something that you use for jewelry making, or even something from your husband's toolbox, that works well. You just want to start with a flat end. And then you're going to take a pair of round nose pliers, and you're just going to grab the tip of it, of the wire, and you're just going to give it a roll. And this is going to make it into a loop. But you can see here, this loop isn't round, it's more oval. So a trick that I do is I just take my cutters in there and trim off a little piece of the loop. You can see that, what it looks like now. And then I reinsert my round nose pliers, and it brings it into more, and twist it, and it brings it into more of a circle shape. And that's going to give you a nice tight center there. So then we're going to take our chain nose or our plier, and we're just going to grab this and we're going to roll it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is holding this wire with my finger and my thumb, and I'm just grabbing onto my loop with my pliers like so, and I'm just rolling my wrist and then letting go, readjusting, same thing, grab on, roll my wrist, grab on, roll my wrist. And we're just holding this snugly with our left hand and doing the rolling with our right hand. Okay, so we're grabbing, roll, grabbing, roll. And we're just making a big enough circle here, or loops, or whatever you want to call these, to be able to glue onto the back of your button. So you're not going to need it giant, but that should be plenty. And you can see here it's kind of offset. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll just take my pliers in there and just grab at the base of the swirl here and just give it a little crick. And you can see then it's more centered. Okay? So once you have that done, all you're going to do then is just simply take a little bit of super glue and put it on your piece. I use a good amount. And then just lay the area with the swirl into the glue. And you can put like something small underneath it just to kind of raise it up so it's level. But that actually looks like that's going to sit on there without too much trouble. So you just want to make sure it's centered and you have it where you want it to be coming out. And then just let it dry. And it's as simple as that. So here I have all my little guys ready to go here. And I have my beads, my chain, and I put out a little piece of sari silk. You can use ribbon or anything that you have on hand, but I thought it would just add a pop of color if we could just weave this through the chain a little bit, just to kind of give I'm like skipping one in between each, so you don't have to go through every one, but it'll just give you a little pop of color in there. I'm just pulling that through and just skipping a link and putting it through. Skip a link, and we're just going front to back here, guys. It's as simple as that. You can skip this step if you don't want to add the ribbon on, no problem. You can just use the chain plainly. So here's our last one. So we have that. So I think I'm just gonna tie this onto the end of here because I want to be able to add my chain, my other chain onto it easily. So I'm just going to snug this on here just with a little knot, and it'll give us a little bit of interest on the ends. Just pulling that and just snugging that onto there. Okay, and you can choose to leave the long strands, you can cut it shorter, any of that works. So I'm just going to straighten the rest of this out where I want it on my chain. Do the same thing. I'm just going to tie this on here. And it's as simple as that. And I want to make sure I leave room in the end so I can hook in, like I said, I can hook my chain in. So I'm kind of moving these up toward either the top or the bottom you're going to want to do. And I think I'm just going to cut mine just like that, just to leave a little bit. Okay. So now all we're going to do is just open up our beads. I'm just going to pour them into a bowl here. Carefully put that lid down. There we go. And then you're just going to take your adorable little buttons that you've made with your rings on the, or with your wire on them, and you're just going to add on a few little beads just to give it a little pop. We can find that, and I'm just going to string that right on. It's a cool bead. And let's do a little, just simple. You don't have to go to extremes with your beads, just something simple, just like so. And then let's put the beads on the other ones, all the beads that we want to use. And I think I'm gonna put this little squirrel in the middle, so I might do him slightly different, but I think I'm just gonna do the two outside ones the same. You do not have to use beads, guys. This is just giving you just a little pop. You don't have to use the beads. Okay, so those two are the same that I have here. All right, and now we'll take this little guy and we'll just put something a little different on him. How about this bead? And then, let's see. Such pretty beads to choose from here, so let's just do this rondelle. And it's just a little spacer. And how about our little gray bead here? Do we like that? Let's see, how does that look with those? That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So here I'm just going to teach you how to make a very simple loop. And that is what they're called, simple loops. I'm going to back these out of the way here. And I'm just going to take my tweezer nose pliers and I'm going to grab maybe 1/8 of an inch above the bead. And I'm going to rotate the wire horizontally. Then I'm just going to hold my fingers here and about 1/4 inch or so from where we made that bend, I'm just going to make a cut with my trimmers. Okay. And then I'm just going to take my round nose in here and I'm just going to grab the end of that wire and just roll that back. Okay. And there you go. You have a loop. Just as simple as that. Okay. So we're going to do these other ones. Let's go through it a couple more times. Let me get this chain out of the way so you can see very well what we're doing here. Again, we're grabbing just slightly above the bead, doing a horizontal bend, doing about 1/4 inch from where it is bent. Okay. and then the round nose back into that. Okay, and just roll backward. And again, easy little loop. And one more. Again, just bend, 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 trim, and roll. Those are the 3 things you need to do when you're making a simple loop. So there it's trimmed. Put our pliers on there and hold tight and just roll back. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to adjust my loop a little bit here. All right. There we go, guys. Just as easy as that. So we're going to put this little guy in the middle, like I said, and let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's put this one on the 6th link, and I'm just going to grab some jump rings simply. We're going to use these ones. They're a little bigger, so I can make sure, because our chain is larger, so I want to use some larger jump rings. I believe these are 8mm jump rings, but I'm sure you can make work whatever you have on hand there. Okay, and then we're just going to take our jump ring and open front to back, just with a little twisting motion. Okay, and we're going to grab our first little dangle here, and we're going to make sure we're counting 6 in. This is the one we wanted on, and then we're going to close it front to back, and there's one little guy on there. Oh, that's so adorable. These buttons are just absolutely adorable. So then what I think I'll do, we'll count from that one. There's 1, 2, 3. So we'll put that little guy there. 3 over. Kind of so they're spaced evenly, just so they look nice. And the same thing, we're just going to close it front to back. And then one more. And we're almost done with this project already. This is nice. It doesn't take too long, but it just really looks cute. Okay, I'm just going to straighten this out so it's facing forward, so I can make sure that my little guy is facing forward here. And I think these are good. Let me adjust this one just a smidge, actually. So we're facing forward. There we go. So you want your loops to be facing forward. You don't want it to look like this sideways from the front. You want it to look, it's going to be open side to side. Okay, that way your guys will face forward well when you put your jump rings on. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3. Hook that on. And I'm hooking it onto the bottom of each link so it'll hang nicely. Okay, just front to back and closing that up. So here is our main piece. Not just flipped, but that's okay. So there we go. So now all we have to do is take our chain and just add it on to these links and add a clasp. It's as simple as that. So I have some of this gorgeous crystal chain here, chain reaction from Jesse James Beads, and I'm just going to open that up. So what I like to do, guys, is on this chain, I will usually take this end piece here and just trim that off, and I'm just simply trimming the loops. Okay, and then as I look here, on this end, I want these to be even. So I want to go to the center of this bottom, and I'm going to trim these 2 loops because that's going to give me chain that's the same length. Okay. So trim that. And trim that. So now we have, I'm going to take the crystal ends that I have here and I'm going to attach those onto my chain with some jump rings. Again, we're going to take our same size. We're going to use the 8mm jump rings. Easy peasy. And we're going to open that. And we're going to hook into the top part. Make sure this is all hanging right where I want it. And we're going to hook into the top part of the last chain. And we're going to link in our little chain here, just like so. Okay, close that up. One side done. And our other jump ring. Same thing on this side. Make sure everything's hanging the way I want it to be, and yes it is. And grab my little loop on my chain and hook those together. Okay, so now all we have left now, guys, is just to put on a clasp. And that is also as simple as using jump rings. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Okay, so all I've done here is I've pulled out some 4mm oval jump rings. And the reason I'm using such small jump rings is because the hole in the end of my chain that I want to go through is very tiny. So these should work. So let's get those opened up. And you can use round jump rings if you have small enough. I just had the ovals in the small, so that's why I'm using those. So I'm just going to put the oval jump ring through the end of the chain and onto my magnetic clasp. And again, just closing front to back. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Through the hole on the end of the chain. Like so. And then hook onto our clasp. Oops. And it's as simple as that, guys. Just closing this front to back. These are tiny, so they might take a little maneuvering for you, but so there you go. There's our cute little Forest Friends necklace. So let's make a pair of earrings to kind of go with this. Just a really simple, quick little pair of earrings. How does that sound? So what you're going to want to get for that, guys, I'm just going to scooch this up so that you can kind of still see it, is grab a couple jump rings, or excuse me, a couple head pins. And I'm just going to use a couple decorative ones because that's what I have on hand here. These just have little flowers on the ends. And simple, they're right here. So all we're going to do here, guys, is just add a few beads to this. Just so it coordinates with our cute little button necklace. I'm just straightening this out, making sure I can get my beads on it. So your choice on what you would like to use, but I'm kind of looking at these really pretty cream color beads, so I'm just gonna put one of those on to my head pin, as easy as that. And then I think I'm going to use, let's see, another one of these crystals on the top. As simple as that. And we'll just make another one. We're just going to take our head pin, put our bead on, put our little crystal round on our head pin, and we can move those out of the way. And we're going to do the same thing, guys. We're going to just make those simple loops, okay? And with the head pin, it's just exactly the same. You just go up just a tiny bit from the bead, bend it horizontal, do a little snip to keep it about 1/4 inch, and just roll that back. with your round nose, just like so. Grab that and roll. What we're making is just a junction here so we can hook on our ear wire, okay? Okay. And then what I'm going to do here is, you can see it's kind of off center, so I'm just going to take my pliers and just kind of adjust that to center where I want it. And then close this because I know I'm going to want to hook my ear wire into it, okay? And we're going to do the same exact thing on this head pin. We're bending horizontal, we're cutting, and we're rolling back. Just as simple as that. Okay. And there we go. There's our other loop, and we're just gonna adjust that one just like we did the others. Okay, like the other one. Okay, and I want to make sure this is closed again because I'm going to put my ear wire in there. And speaking of ear wires, let's just grab a couple. And I like to use the surgical steel because that way it doesn't bother my ears or anyone else that I'm making these for. They do seem to work well for anyone that might have sensitive ears. And we're just going to do that. Open that front to back. Slide on our cute little head pin that we made there. One earring done. And the same thing on this one. Just open it up. Slide on that ear wire and that head pin. And close. And there we have a pair of cute earrings in under 5 minutes. You can't beat that. And a cute little necklace to go along with it. Let's move this stuff up so you can see. Flip him over. There we go. There's our cute little set. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.